Welcome to Keep What You Earn, your judgment and jargon-free zone for entrepreneurs of all levels. Get ready to learn how to scale your business, save money in taxes, and create a business that grows your wealth. If it feels like the financial side of business is like eating your vegetables, well, then think of this podcast as the ranch dressing to make the process a little more enjoyable. My name is Shannon. I'm a CPA and business owner on a mission to simplify money and empower others through knowledge. I hope this episode inspires you to take action, but remember that the information we share is for educational purposes only and is not individual tax advice. Now that we got that out of the way, let's start the show. There's a lot of talk on social media and in business networking groups and masterminds and communities around tax planning, tax strategy, because it's definitely one of the biggest expenses, cash outflows that you have as an entrepreneur. But what most people don't understand is that you have a ton of control as a business owner in implementing tax strategies for yourself that will help you save thousands. Now, here's the kicker though. A lot of people who promote themselves to be tax strategists we're all aware of kind of these same few areas of the Internal Revenue Code, which is the guidebook. There are a few rules that you can work within and work around to help you save a bit of money in taxes. Now, a lot of people are in forums, in groups, business networking communities, and they're saying, hey, I'm looking for a tax strategist. Okay. I'm always curious where I see that. I'm curious and I want to ask, what is the problem you're hoping they will solve? And if you are in the market for a tax strategist, if you've been convinced by tax creators, tax related creators, that, hey, you need a strategist and not just a preparer, including myself, by the way, I would always advocate for a strategist over a preparer or a strategist in addition to a preparer. Basically, if someone's just preparing your taxes, they're publishing the story, but you have no one helping you author what the end is going to be. So I believe in having an advisor 100%. However, a lot of people are asking for a tax strategist and self diagnosing that's what they need. So instead, what I would love it if they would share is, what is it you're looking to solve for? It might be, hey, I had a huge tax liability, an unexpected tax liability this year. You don't even have to say the magnitude because, who wants to share that? You can say, hey, my tax bill really came out of left field for me this year because there was no proper planning, no heads up, no communication from my current professional. I'm looking for a tax pro who can communicate proactively. I'm looking for someone who can help me tax plan. I'm looking for someone who can help me reduce my tax liability and understand the strategies available to me. Now, is that a tax strategist? Sometimes yes. But before you jump to, I need a tax strategist and I need to ditch my CPA, understand that a lot of these folks who are identifying as tax strategists have marketing that is going to push you and create a divide between you and your CPA because your CPA probably knows all these strategies and probably knows how risky they are and probably knows that you may or not be qualified to implement them, or maybe you just don't have the systems in place to implement them effectively or correctly. So before you jump to the conclusion that you need to hire a tax strategist, I want you to really ask yourself, is that the person who can solve my problem? Or is the solution to my problem somewhere in between where I could have a tax professional who does my taxes, helps me plan throughout the year, and just does a better job of communicating with me? Maybe you're not implementing some insane tax strategies and getting these massive refunds or amending prior year returns and doing all this stuff. Maybe it comes down to the problem that you're actually trying to solve for is the surprise. Maybe it's not about the magnitude of the liability. Maybe it's about the timing of when you found out. I've actually noticed this, and this has shifted my entire approach to how I look at tax planning because although we try to save clients as much as we can within reason, and we're implementing these strategies, I no longer focus on marketing it or highlighting it as a service because it's not about that. It's about taking the surprise out of the surprise tax bill. You know, I want my entrepreneurs not to shrink themselves. I want them to earn as much as they humanly can. I want them to reach their big goals without fear. I don't want them to pull the e-brake on themselves while they're ascending uphill. Okay. And I want that for you. So when you think about that, I want you to out earn the stress of taxes. I want you to earn so much that it's a minuscule little thing you flick off your shoulder. That's what I want. So, how we make that happen is we strategically align how you earn income and we implement strategies that we can to help you focus on the right things in your business and make sure that you're optimizing from not just a tax standpoint, but from a legal and for your goals. And what most people do is they will seek the help of a tax strategist, the desire to lower their tax liability. But the reality is that it comes down to the choices they're making, whether it be like lifestyle choices or it could be, I mean, heck, where you live. My best piece of tax advice is don't live in California. There you go. No charge for that advice whatsoever. And but people will say, if you live in California and you just heard that, you're like, I love living in California. Good for you. You're going to pay taxes. Like, I love California. I do. I don't want to live there I don't want to pay the taxes or pay the property values, right? To live there. And that's individual choices. You should never make a choice that is life-changing and would sacrifice your happiness for the sake of taxes. So if you would like to minimize taxes or you'd like to live in California for all the things it has to offer, just what's more important? And if you must, where else can you save taxes or how else can you manage that? And if you're going to have a large tax liability, let's just say you're building a multi-million dollar business in California. And I knock on California because they clearly have some of the highest taxes in the country. They're not alone though, but they're easy to make fun of. When you're looking at what you owe, it's as simple as we implemented this process for our clients last year where we had a required basically a part of our process was every July, and we're doing it again and again, like 100% we're keeping this process. Hey there, are you on LinkedIn? I love connecting with listeners and other professionals and business owners on that platform. I got to say, I'm really enjoying it. So if we're not already connected, make sure you send me a connection request after this episode. In July, we did a tax return for our clients for the first half of the year and basically doubled everything and said, okay, if that happens again, or we look at last year, we mimic it, we consider all the factors that you would to estimate how the year is going to go. So we looked at 2023 and we said, okay, we have the January through June numbers of everybody's pay stubs, everybody's profits, everybody's income. And we said, okay, so if we take that and we estimate for 2023, the rest of the year, what's going to come, we're going to use the 2022 software. Okay. And we're going to do our best estimate from a ballpark range of what you're going to owe. And we kind of said, okay, hey, client number one, you're going to owe between $15,000 and $20,000 to the federal government, and you're going to owe between 5 and 7,000 to California, let's say, or the state. And they say, okay, and that's it. I'll tell you, hearing that in July, very little stress. Because if I said, okay, you're going to owe about 20,000 in 10 months. Okay. Cause by then it was 10 months away ish. And they said, okay, great. That means I have to save up a little over 2 grand a month. Yeah, I can do that. And this is a business that makes, far more than that. This is a business that makes, 6 figures a month. So setting aside 2 grand, no biggie. Cool. We'll put that on autopilot right now. And guess what? We just crossed the tax deadline when I'm recording this. They just wrote a check. It was never a stressor. It was always in that account for that reason. It was always anticipated and it was always planned for. And they will not, they'll never say, like, hey, I need a strategy to lower my taxes. They just need to know what the taxes are going to be so they can plan ahead. And because there's only so many strategies you can implement at a certain point. If you're unlocking all of the different things that you want to do as a business owner, because there's always things like real estate, rep status, which is real estate professional status. There's all of these different little tactics you can use that you're hearing about on social media, podcasts, the internet. And it's like, yeah, all you got to do is become a real estate professional and do this many hours and do this and do that. And it's like, I am not going to just change my entire lifestyle, my entire how I spend my time, where I live, any of that. If you don't want to change all that in the name of tax law, which I don't blame you for what one bit, then what you have to do is find ways to have it work around your life and plan around you. And if I were to say, instead of changing your behaviors in the name of taxes, what if we could let you know and keep you informed of, based on your behaviors, this is what the taxes are going to be. And then say, conduct yourself accordingly, save accordingly. Removing that stress out is actually the biggest factor, because every one of my clients this year, and I'm so freaking proud of this, every one of my clients this year, not a single one of them was like, hey, where's my tax return? How much am I going to owe? How much am I going to owe? I'm like, well, we told you that in July. Then we did an update in November. And then we told you again in January. So like we've been updating everybody along the way of like, this is ballpark what you're going to owe. And we did a pro forma and we updated it for the real numbers. And we were just waiting to actually get to file. Everybody had a ballpark range. In fact, most of the times I overshoot the range. Spoiler alert, because I go, hey, I want you to save up 200,000 and then find out it was 175. I want you to build the discipline and build the muscle of saving, and then look forward to the time where you kind of feel like you're getting a tax refund again. Because for once as an entrepreneur, to get a tax refund feels amazing. But to know that you have the ability to save up and pay that much and still run your business the way you do is really empowering. So I would encourage you to shift your mindset away from, oh my gosh, what little strategies can I implement? Can I do this? Can I do that? Can I deduct this, deduct that? Have those conversations, yes, for the big ticket items, but stop chasing the pennies. Stop trying to change your behaviors, change these big things about your life and how you operate in the name of saving a few bucks. It's not worth it most of the time. It's really not. And instead, focus on what your goals are, what living a happy and wealthy life means to you, and then figure out how you can communicate and understand your taxes a little bit better so you can plan around them so it doesn't actually impact your life in a negative way. That is how I'm choosing to approach this from here on out. You're not going to see me. I don't talk about a lot of tax strategies on social media. I don't talk a lot about them on the podcast. There are really great strategies available: hiring your kids, Augusta rule, accountable plan, all of that's still valid. And please go listen to all the episodes where I talk about those things. They're great strategies. However, they require a lot of work to implement sometimes. And sometimes it's just not worth the time to implement. So just know that's okay. And instead of chasing all the strategies to save, spend that time on earning and spend that time on planning and spend that time getting the advice from professionals who are future focused and want to understand your actual goals. Okay, real talk. Our business can really mess with our emotions and our mindset. Am I right? One day we feel like we're unstoppable, like we could run through a wall, and then the next we want to burn it all down and start from scratch. Hey, I'm with you. A lot of this has to do with how we approach our money. And if you need a quick jolt of mindset habits for the next 5 days to help you reboot and recalibrate, check out my 5-day financial mindset refresh delivered straight to your email. Click the link in the show notes to sign up right now. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating and review on your podcast platform. This small action goes a long way for podcasters to get our message heard by more business owners just like you. Be sure to check out the show notes for links to information about our guests and ways to get in touch with me. We'll see you on the next episode.